This is the Louie T Network. The journey is long, and nobody said it was going to be easy. But all we've got is us. All that believe is us. The Redskins Report. Welcome, all my fellow Redskin brethren and sistren. I am your man and resident Redskins fan, Lou. Thank you for joining me here on the Redskins Report. Oh, it feels good to be home. And I'll tell you what, we got a big one coming up on Sunday, 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time against our divisional foes in the Philadelphia Eagles. And this is a big one. This is a big one for a number of reasons. A, this is the team that everyone has crowned the champions in this division. This is the team that won the division last year, that everybody looks at as the leader in the clubhouse to get it done once again. So this is a big game for that reason. Number two, we're at Philly. This is huge because we're on the road in the division. First time we're playing a divisional opponent this season. First time we're trying to take care of a little bit of family business. And we're on the road. We're 0-1 on the road this year, losing to the Texans in week 1. So we haven't gotten a win on the road yet this season. So this is big. And number three, this is our first huge test defensively. I mean, we've been talking about how improved this defense has been thus far this year and how good we feel. I feel excellent about this defense. And there are a number of reasons why I feel so strongly about this defense the way that I do. But this Eagles team is going to put this defense to the test because I remember there was a time when the Philadelphia Eagles scared me half to death. The sight and the thought of having to play against the Eagles and their team speed, it literally had my knees shaking. When you talk about Deshaun Jackson and Shady McCoy and those two by themselves, that was enough to make me want to run and hide because our defense was slow. That was number one. Our defense was slow. We didn't have any lateral quickness. London Fletcher was our leader, and he was a damn good one, but London Fletcher was slow, and he was old, and they would take advantage of him, and he couldn't run with Shady McCoy. He couldn't run across the field back and forth. He couldn't keep up with the Eagles' tight ends. He couldn't keep up with the pace of their offense. He wasn't fast enough to do that. Our defense wasn't fast enough. When Michael Vick was their quarterback, and Michael could scramble, that was a problem for us because we didn't have enough team speed defensively to keep up with what the Eagles were doing. Now I look at this defense and it is chock full of athletes. And I feel like the one dominant thing that the Eagles had over it, the one dominant advantage that they had over the Redskins, offensively and against our defense, was the fact that they were faster than us. As a team, they were faster than us. On the offensive side of football, they were faster than us. So our defense couldn't match up with them. On the defensive side of football, they were superior athletically, so they could run around and make things happen and cause havoc for us offensively. That's not the case anymore. We're not slow on offense anymore. We're not slow on defense anymore. We're a fast football team. We're athletic. Now that you've taken out London Fletcher and you've inserted Keenan Robinson, that makes this defense that much faster. Now that you take out Bowen and add in Jason Hatcher, that makes this defense faster, more athletic, more aggressive. This makes this defense, and I'll tell you what, Chris Baker at the nose tackle position, I don't know, I love me some Barry Cofield, but I'm telling you right now, Chris Baker at the nose, to me, that could be somewhat of an upgrade. You know, I don't want to sit here and scoff at what Barry Cofield has done for us, along that defensive line at nose tackle. But I would love to see Barry Cofield get some opportunities to move around and play, that 5 technique at defensive end and not just be placed at the nose, and let Chris Baker get some snaps at his natural position as the nose, and let those guys kind of move around and be interchangeable parts, because Chris Baker to me is even more special at the nose than he is at the 5 technique, and he's an athletic marvel at the nose, and we're just a better football team. We have more depth. We're more athletic. Our secondary is light years better than it was in the past, where the Eagles could take advantage of us deep. And with Bakari Rambo being out of the picture now, remember, he was released on Tuesday, and we're getting Brandon Merriweather back. I kept telling you when the season started that we were going to miss his presence. And the 2 touchdowns, we've given up 2 defensive touchdowns this year. And again, I keep harping on this, and I hate to keep beating a dead horse, but again, you need to understand the importance of Brandon Merriweather. Both of those touchdowns had Bakari Rambo's name written all over it. He was responsible for both touchdowns, and both of them were huge plays. One for 76 yards against the Texans with DeAndre Hopkins catching it and running, and Bakari Rambo missing the tackle. And of course, the other one happening a week ago against Jacksonville with Bakari Rambo taking a sloppy angle and going under the football instead of coming over the top and forcing Marcedes Lewis to have to cut back into the help, and he's able to go off to the races for 63 yards. So both of the touchdowns were huge plays that were given up on busted coverages and missed tackles by Bakari Rambo. He's no longer here. This defense is going to be much more sound in their principles. This Eagles offense is going to test us, and I want to see how we perform on this test. Do we come out of this test with an A? Do we find a way to get a 95 on this test? Do we find a way to get a B on this test? Do we get an 89 on this test, an 87? Or do we come out of this test asking some questions about this defense? Do they come out of here with a C or even a D on this test? I want to see how this Redskins defense performs now that you're putting an elite level offense in front of them, because you could argue that the Texans offense is okay. It's not great. It's okay. The Jacksonville offense was terrible last week. So now you're getting to see this defense that we think is much improved against an offense that can push them to the limits. And Darren Sproles scares the hell out of me. I don't know about you. If you thought Shady McCoy was bad, Shady has nothing on Darren Sproles when it comes to quickness and being able to stop and start on a dime and be able to cut at moment's notice. There's no back in this league harder to tackle and tougher to face than Darren Sproles, a.k.a. Mighty Mike. And so taking Deshaun Jackson out of their offense and inserting a guy like Darren Sproles makes me sick to my stomach, is what it does. But because we have more team speed this time around, I feel like we're better equipped to deal with a guy like Darren Sproles. I think we're better equipped to deal with a running back like Shady McCoy. He can't sit back and juke a guy out of his shoes and stop and start and not expect 3 more Redskins to be coming. Last year and the year before that, when we were slow as a team, he could juke one guy out of his shoes and know that there was no backside pursuit, no extra Redskins coming. There was no cavalry to arrive because we were too slow to the football. We couldn't make plays. Now we rally to the football. We're coming in drones, in packs. We're too athletic and we're too fast to not have guys swarming to the football. Jim has these guys flying around, and I love every bit of it. And I think this is going to be a huge test because I think we can get pressure on Nicholas Foles. I think that we can slow this Eagles offense. Look, the key to the game for us defensively against the Eagles is going to be getting off the field on 3rd downs. The Eagles, they want to run up and down with this tempo and push the pace and really make it hard on us to substitute and really get into any kind of defensive rhythm. The way to slow these guys down are incomplete passes and getting off the field on 3rd down. You can't get into a rhythm if you have to come off the field on 3rd downs. You can't get into it. 1st downs are the enemy this week. If they're getting 1st downs and they're able to get chunk plays and they're running up and down the field, you can't substitute. You can't get into your defensive calls. You can't get into your aggressive defenses and blitz and do this and that and the other because they're running up the field 15 yards and they're ready to snap the ball before you can even get set. So the key to the game defensively is getting pressure on Nicholas Foles. stopping the Eagles on first and second down, putting them in third and long situations, which are compromising situations, which will allow us to blitz and put pressure on Nicholas Foles. And we have to win individual matchups. One of the biggest matchups to me, nobody's really talking about this. We're talking about all the specialists. We're talking about Darren Sproles, Shady, Zach Ertz, and Brent Selleck, their tight ends. We're talking about Jeremy Maclin. We're talking about Jordan Matthews, their rookie out of Vanderbilt. We're talking about Riley Cooper. We're talking about all these skill guys. But the position that can hurt the Eagles the most in this game is right tackle. They've got a third-string right tackle in, and the Indianapolis Colts couldn't make them pay for it last week because they don't get pressure on the quarterback, because they don't have a guy that can get to the quarterback. Well, we've got several guys that can get to the quarterback, and that right tackle position needs to be abused in this game. They've got one guy that's injured, and the rookie that they drafted last year is suspended right now. He'll be out for the first 4 games. So we've got a distinct advantage over there on the right side of their offensive line, left side of our defense. If we want to win this game, we've got to put pressure on that right tackle and make him pay for being a third stringer, trying to start in the NFC East against our Redskins. If we want to win up front, that's where we have to do our damage. They've got a hell of a left tackle out there in Jason Peters. He's a rock. But at right tackle, they have a third string guy. We need to take advantage of that. We need to go at him in a multitude of ways. Give him a bunch of looks. I'm talking about sending 2, 3 guys, overloading his side, making his brain explode with how many defensive looks he's seen throughout the game. And then we just need to win. And when it's not, multiple look or multiple front, or it's not 3 guys overloading his side and making him have to think what to do. When it's just one-on-one, we just need to win. If you got a third string tackle in the game, you're supposed to beat him, okay? So whether it's Kerrigan, Orakpo, Trent Murphy, whomever, if you get one-on-one with this guy, he needs to be beat to a pulp in this game. Much like we did with the Jacksonville Jaguars. They had some guys in there that were questionable. We made them pay for it. Same thing needs to happen in this game. To me, that's the biggest matchup to focus in on in this game. Who has an opportunity to go one-on-one with that right tackle, and are they winning that battle consistently will be the question. Normally, Kerrigan lines up on that side of the line. I like my chances with Ryan Kerrigan going to work on a third-string tackle. I don't know about you, but I love that matchup for us. But that's the defensive side of things. Kind of contain the running backs. Of course, those are the guys that I'm really keen in on, because I feel like our secondary is pretty rock solid. I really like what we're doing in the secondary. The question then becomes our linebackers matched up against these running backs, and are we able to tackle them in space? That's the question, because we saw what Darren Sproles did to the Indianapolis Colts on Monday Night Football. He was a one-man wrecking crew. We can't forget about Shady. Shady is one of the most dangerous backs. He's being overshadowed by Darren Sproles right now, and for good reason. But both of these guys together, you take them apart and make them separate entities, and they're just as dangerous. You put them together, and these guys are simply one of the best running back tandems in the league. So we've got to be on our P's and Q's, Y's and Z's, and ready to take these guys down. And we've got to gang tackle and run to the football, because they can make anybody in this league miss one-on-one. So we've got to come as a group, and we've got to come to the party swarming, trying to get these guys down. Now, you look at it from the offensive side of things against the Eagles defense. They're going to be missing one of their most athletic linebackers in Michael Kendricks. He's going to be out in this game. So that's something that we need to take advantage of. We've got a little bit of speed in our backfield. And I thought he played magnificent against us last year. I thought Michael Kendricks, when we had Robert Griffin III, and he was actually the spy last year, I thought he did a wonderful job. So they're going to miss his presence in their linebacking group. But if you're talking about what is going to be one of the keys to the game for us offensively, is going to be establishing the running game. I thought the Colts did a great job of running the football in the first half against the Philadelphia Eagles, and then they kind of slowed that down, did the Eagles in the second half, and that allowed them to get pressure on Andrew Luck, and they forced him into a mistake or two. And you can argue that the officials missed a call or two, which they did, but it doesn't matter. It wasn't called. we're not here to cry about spilled milk. The Eagles got it done, and they were able to put pressure on Andrew Luck when it mattered most in that game because the running game started to falter towards the end. We need to be consistent for 4 quarters running the football on this Eagles defense. That is pretty light up front. This is not a huge Eagles defense. We can move them off the spot, create a new line of scrimmage, get Alfred Morris in this running game going early on. It will open up huge avenues, much like it did last week against Jacksonville, for Kirk Cousins and this passing game. No Jordan Reed. He's out once again. And just to update you on the injury front, Deshaun Jackson is a game-time decision. I think he's going to play. You know he wants to play in this game bad. I talked about that last week and how for him, this injury couldn't have come at the worst time, because if there was one game on the schedule that he wanted to be a part of, it's this one right here against his old mates in Philadelphia. He wants this one bad. Much like Donovan McNabb going back to Philly when we played them, when Donovan was with us for that one season. He wanted to play against the Eagles and beat them bad, and that he did. Same thing for D-Jax. He wants to beat this Eagles team. He wants to stick it to them. And so I can see him playing anywhere from 15 to 25 plays and having them try to use him vertically to stretch the defense. But if he does play, it'll be a great, help to us offensively. If not, we've got speed and we've got depth at receiver. Aldrick Robinson can fill in for him. Ryan Grant played tremendously last week. And we can bring up Santana Moss as well. Don't forget about the Tanner man, who's been sitting off to the side waiting for his turn patiently. So we've got options. We're fine if D-Jax isn't able to go. If he is, the more weapons, the merrier for us. But Jordan Reed is out again. I don't expect to see Jordan Reed, frankly, until that Monday night matchup against Seattle in week number 4. So I wouldn't look for Jordan Reed next week either if I were you. But that's more Niles Paul. And Niles Paul has been our leading receiver up until this point. So I have more than the utmost confidence in Niles Paul being able to get it done and work in the middle of the field. And I just talked about Michael Kendricks, their best cover linebacker, not being in the lineup. That could be something that we can exploit with them not having their most athletic linebacker on the field. We might be able to use Niles Paul all over the field and get him open and get some mismatches and have him exploit them. We still got Pierre Garçon on the edge. We still got a guy that I think has stepped up for us tremendously in this season, in Roberts and Andre. And, Dre has been huge for us, not just as a receiver and running the football. I mean, he's been running, end arounds and reverses. He's been doing it on the ground and in the air, but also on special teams, looking for him to continue to contribute on special teams as well. And so we've got a number of things we can do offensively, but it all starts with the running game to get Kirk Cousins settled in and not make him feel like he has to win this game by himself. If we can run the football, alleviate some of that pressure off of Kirk Cousins in his first start of the season, and look, this is much different than last week. I know everybody wants to make a big deal about what he did last week coming in relief of Robert Griffin III, but it's easy to come in as the relief pitcher. It's easy to come in when nobody was game planning for you coming into that week. Nobody thought Kirk Cousins was going to be on the field. The Jacksonville Jaguars didn't perform that poorly against Kirk Cousins because Kirk Cousins is that great of a quarterback, not saying that he's not. But it was more because they were ill-prepared for what Kirk Cousins was bringing to the table. They had prepared all week for Robert Griffin III, and all of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, you get Kirk Cousins. Things change. The ball comes out quicker, reads are made faster, this offense goes at a different tempo and pace. All of a sudden, you're not prepared. Now the Eagles have had a whole week to prepare for nothing but Kirk Cousins. They're going to have some looks. They're going to see some things that they feel like they can take advantage of. They're going to go back to last year's tape on Kirk Cousins at the end of the season. They're going to look at some of the things he did wrong there when he struggled. They're going to try to really take advantage of him and make him make some mistakes. So it's our job to take some of that pressure off of him by running the football. And off of the run will come wide open receivers, and Kirk just has to do a great job like he did last week of hitting guys when they're open, and even when they're not, throwing them open. I thought he did a wonderful job last week of throwing receivers open. He needs to continue to do that. And I think we have the ability to block these Eagle defenders. I think they're going to try to do what they did a week ago, which was use twists and stunts on the inside. They did a lot of A-gap pressures and blitzes right up the middle to try and get to the quarterback. And last week it worked against Andrew Luck. They had a backup center in the game. They're going to try to do some of the same things because I feel like they're going to try to take advantage of Tyler Columbus at right tackle. That's no secret. And they're going to try to get to the teeth of our offense, which is right up the middle, and force pressure that way. So the best way for us to combat that was the short passes on the edges to kind of loosen them up. And then when they start cheating up and trying to come up, that's when we need to hit them over the top. So running the football will be paramount. And then getting Kirk Cousins into a rhythm. Remember, last week he started the game 12 of 12. He got into a rhythm and he was able to start fast, and that carried him through the rest of the game. If we can get him off to a fast start, a couple of small completions just to shake off the cobwebs and get him comfortable into the game, into the flow of things, I feel like we've got a dynamite chance of going on the road and knocking off the NFC East defending champion Philadelphia Eagles. I fully expect to win this game. I don't know about you. It's not going to be easy, but nobody ever said it. And just like I said in the intro, nobody ever said it was going to be easy. Nothing is going to be given to us. This Eagles team is a very good football team that I fully expect to give us everything we could ask for and then some. If we don't come with our A game, don't expect to leave Lincoln Financial. Don't expect to leave the link with a W. If we come with our A game, if we play defensively like we did a week ago, and I'm not expecting 10 sacks. Don't expect 10 sacks. But if we can get consistent pressure, Nicholas Foles will turn the football over. If you apply pressure to him, he will. Look, ask the Jacksonville Jaguars in week 1 what happened when they put pressure on him. They got turnovers, 3 to be exact, in the first quarter, led to 17 points. If you get pressure on Nicholas Foles, he will share the football. But if you allow him to stand back there like a statue and let him stand tall and scan the field, he will pick you apart. So we've got to get pressure on him. And the way to get pressure on him is to force them into 3rd and long situations by stopping the run on 1st and 2nd down. They're going to try to screen us. We need to read our keys. The center gives away some keys. I've heard all week long Perry Riley Jr. talking about some of the keys being given away by the backs out of the backfield and the center, because they have a very athletic and very gifted and talented center in Jason Kels, who gets out there like nobody's business, and he gives away when it's a screen. We need to read our keys and get to the screen game and get these Eagles running backs on the ground, because they are dangerous when they're out in space. So that's basically how I feel about this game. We're at full strength defensively. We're getting Merriweather back. I expect this defense to be flying around, making plays. We need to get 2 turnovers. I want to see 2 turnovers, and I want to see us take care of the football. That's something that we haven't done on the road yet. We were careless with the football in Houston. We turned it over, and we didn't generate enough turnovers. I want to see us generate multiple turnovers in the game. We haven't done that this season yet. We got 1 turnover in Houston. We got 1 turnover in Jacksonville. The difference was we didn't turn it over against Jacksonville. We turned it over against Houston, and we won the football game. Against Jacksonville, we lost against Houston. Don't turn it over and force some turnovers in this game. If we're sound in our principles on special teams, defense, and on offense, I see us coming away with a 27-23 victory against the Philadelphia Eagles. I am a Redskins fan, etched in burgundy and gold. My Redskin spirit will never die. My Redskin spirit will never fold. Until we meet again, hail to our beloved Redskins. And so, this is going to be a very exciting game. I cannot wait. Bart Scott, can't wait. And so this is going to be huge within the NFC East landscape. If we want to send a message to the rest of the division, there's no bigger way than going on the road against the division champs of a season ago and slapping them in the mouth in their own house and coming out with a W. Let's go get them, fellas, and bring on back a W to the nation's capital. I love wearing anything other than black on Monday or Tuesday. And my man Jay Moose said it best. It was a long time since I've seen you wear anything other than black. And I want to keep it that way. Let's go on the street where I'm wearing burgundy or I'm wearing white on Monday or Tuesday as we come back and talk about a victory on Monday or Tuesday. So I will see you on the next installment of the Redskins Report. Go get them, fellas.
The Redskins Report.